Welcome back to Squawk Box. The first ever digital assets legislation is passed in the House of Representatives, but the future of the bill remaining unclear as the Senate has yet to come up with companion legislation. There's no timing on when the Senate needs to act. Joining us right now to talk about what comes next, Congressman French Hill chairs the Digital Assets Subcommittee and one of the authors of Fit 21. Good morning to you. So there's no timing on this at all. What's going to happen?
Andrew, good to be with you. Well, look, for the last couple of years, we've worked on a bicameral and bipartisan basis on bills that would enhance our digital assets ecosystem. One on payment stablecoins legislation that Patrick McHenry and Maxine Waters have worked on, and Fit 21 that we passed last week, overwhelmingly 279 yes votes, including 71 Democrats. So that in and of itself sends a major signal to the Senate that we've got good text, we've got bipartisan support, and I think that should incent Senators Loomis and Gillibrand, Stabenow and Bozeman, four members that have worked extensively on understanding this topic, to collaborate with us on a bicameral partnership to pass this bill.
Well, where do you stand on this? I don't know how much you've been focused on this Ether ETF, but in the investment world, that has become the game, at least over the last month, in terms of when that will happen, what the SEC is going to do. Do you have a position on it?
Well, I'm supportive of the SEC going through the same process they did when they looked at, under both Chairman Clayton and Chairman Gensler, approving a Bitcoin ETP. They're following that same process. They had a setback in federal court that I think sped up their analysis. Plus, they determined that the cash market and the futures market seem to be in good correlation. I think that'll enhance the assessment of Ether and put it on slightly a shorter time frame than we saw in the Bitcoin process.
I don't know if you saw former President Trump making some comments at a rally recently saying that he's going to protect, if you're in the crypto, if you like crypto, I'm going to protect your crypto. We're going to make crypto work for you. What did you think of that?
Well, I'm glad to see President Trump's for innovation in the United States. We want the U.S. to be a leader in financial technology, just like we have in other forms of technology, particularly as we look at the future of the internet, Web3, and blockchain. He also said that he was not supportive of a U.S. central bank digital currency, which I think is a good position. I prefer the private sector leading in payments, and that's why we're still working on a payment stablecoin bill that will let the private sector here lead in that manner on a dollar-backed payment stablecoin.
It's interesting just to see even former President Trump change gears on this, because he was a skeptic originally. Were you a skeptic originally too?
Well, I've always said that I think blockchain has tremendous ability to take out frictional costs in financial services and other forms of the economy. And I think that the concept of a tokenized payment through a payment stablecoin makes sense inside certain applications on a blockchain. That doesn't make me per se someone that would think that Bitcoin is a store of value. I'm not making that argument, but I am arguing that the U.S. needs the right regulatory framework for digital assets so that venture capitalists, innovators, investors, and consumers can feel like we've got the right regime for innovation in the future of blockchain and Web3 innovation.